She said she was just walking around the small town, just asking different businesses what they thought about the religious freedom bill recently passed in Indiana. She just happened to wander into a little pizza shop. Crystal O'Connor, one of the co-owners of the pizza shop, was behind the counter. Alyssa Morano, and self-described storyteller, just wanted to know the 21-year-old O'Connor's thoughts on the new bill. That was it. That's all she wanted. No hidden agenda, no gotcha sound bites. Just wanted to know what her opinion was. And she asked the question that everyone wants to know. She asked the question that everybody who goes into that shop wants to know. Everybody in America needs to know this, especially if you're getting married. Would this little pizza shop be willing to cater a same-sex wedding? So remember, Morano's just walking around this little neighborhood, just asking different people. She was asked on Twitter how she came about walking into Memories Pizza. She said she just Googled, or she was just looking up different restaurants in the area and just happened to walk into Memories and just asked the question. O'Connor answered truthfully, saying that she would not feel comfortable catering a gay wedding. Not because she was hateful, not because she was a bigot, but just based on her religious convictions, she could not do it. But she wouldn't have any problem serving someone who was gay that came inside her restaurant. She had no problem with that. Ms. Morano kindly thanked the young O'Connor and rushed back to the studio, tweeting as she went. Tonight I spoke to a local business who says they support RFRA. Hear what they have to say about their rights as a Christian family at 11. I imagine her smiling as she pushed the post button, proud of her journalistic ability and prowess. Meanwhile, inside the pizza shop, O'Connor had no idea her life was about to change forever. The local news ran the story.
Only on ABC 57 News tonight, we went into small towns tonight for a reaction to the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. We found one business just 20 miles away from a welcoming South Bend with a much different view. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Dorman.
And I'm Colleen Borman. The business is Memories Pizza. It's been a Walkerton mainstay for nearly a decade. And tonight, they are standing up for their religious beliefs. This story is just one part of ABC 57's team coverage on the Religious Freedom Act. And tonight, Marissa Keniston also talked with a PR company about this nightmare for the state. But we start with Alyssa, live in front of that business. Alyssa, what do the owners have to say tonight?
Well, Colleen, I learned from the workers here at this restaurant that they agree with Governor Pence and the signing of this bill. They say they have a right to believe in their religion and protect those ideals.
If a gay couple was to come in, like say they wanted us to provide them pizzas for a wedding, we would have to say no.
Crystal O'Connor and her family are standing firm in their beliefs tonight. They've owned Memories Pizza and Ice Cream in Walkerton for almost 10 years, a small town business.
It's a cute little town, Walker, Kentucky.
With small town ideals.
We're a Christian establishment.
They pride themselves in owning a business that reflects their religious beliefs.
We're not discriminating against anyone. It's just that's our belief. And everybody has the right to believe anything.
So when Governor Pence signed the Religious Freedom Restoration Act into law, the family was not disappointed.
We definitely agree with the bill.
I asked her about the negative backlash it's been getting for being a discriminatory legislation. Her response:
I do not think it is targeting gays. I don't think it's a discrimination.
She believes it's a way to protect businesses like hers.
Oh, it's supposed to help people that have a religious belief.
She says because she is a Christian, she and her family don't support gay marriage, and that is their right.
The title of the article was that this was the first business to deny same-sex service, that they were the first one to deny it, that they would not give them any service at all, that this was the first business to deny same-sex service. The O'Connors started receiving death threats. Their business was targeted by activists who continuously called the shop, tying up their phones. Several people blasted the pizza shop on Yelp with very bad ratings and comments. Eventually, they had to close the shop. Not feeling safe to come in, they had to close the doors. On the internet, Memories Pizza was exploding. The story was making news all over the country, where it made its way to Dana Lash, conservative radio host and host of her own TV show on the Blaze television network. She and her people started a GoFundMe site in order to raise money for the family, who now had no way to make an income. They only wanted to get $25,000. When they finally closed the donation page 2 days later, they had raised over $870,000. But the hate didn't stop. Enter another employee for another local news station, Alex Bryan, A-L-I-X, Bryan. Here's a lady who is also an activist for gay rights. She was very upset by what happened with this pizza place. And so, just in case, she said in a tweet, just in case, she reported the GoFundMe site for fraud. Just in case. She wanted to be sure that someone wasn't frauding the system. Eventually, she had to write a letter of apology. She said, on Wednesday, I made several tweets via my personal account after a pizza place in Indiana told ABC 57 that they would not cater a same-sex wedding. I have strong opinions on the subject, which I expressed on Twitter and did so on my own account, not as a representative of my employer. That same night, I came across a GoFundMe campaign that was not created by Crystal or Kevin O'Connor, the owners of the pizza place. I was concerned that the GoFundMe account might also be a fake, especially after seeing someone had created a fake Memories Pizza website. And I thought someone could be attempting to selfishly benefit. I reported the campaign to GoFundMe's fraud page so they would look into its veracity. I searched for the name of the person associated with the GoFundMe account and reached out via social media and did not receive a response. This had nothing to do with my job. I never wrote a news report on this matter. I participated freely in social media discussions only on my personal account, expressing my own views, and I regret that my posts may have reflected negatively on my employer. My intent was to stop what could have been theft of donations. There's no way that 140 characters could encapsulate my personal opinions surrounding this topic, or others, and I do regret if my abbreviated opinions have been misinterpreted to hurt people or cause disruption. That truly was never my intent. My intent was to prevent possible swindling, not to create a hateful conversation. In the future, my actions will be more measured, and I apologize to those affected. So there is a real problem going on right now. There's a lot of people very angry. So what is the problem? Why is this so controversial? Why is this bill so controversial? I have seen so much about this over the past few days, and I decided to actually read the bill. So what does this bill say? This bill was put into place to protect business owners who have some sort of religious conviction, and if they say they cannot cater to some kind of ceremony that they cannot agree with based on religious conviction, that they cannot be sued for that. That is why the bill was put into place. Because of reasons like this. ABCnews.com. A Colorado baker who refused to make a cake for a gay couple has been given an ultimatum by a judge. Serve gay weddings or face fines. Administrative law judge Robert N. Spence found Friday that Jack Phillips of Masterpiece Cake Shop in Denver, Colorado, violated the law when he turned away David Mullins, 29, and Charlie Craig, 33, from his shop last year. In his written decision, Spence ordered that Phillips, quote, cease and desist from discriminating against gay couples or face financial penalties, and cited Colorado state law that prohibits businesses from refusing service based on race, sex, marital status, or sexual orientation. Quote, at first blush, it may seem reasonable that a private business should be able to refuse service to anyone it chooses, Spence wrote. This view, however, fails to take into account the cost to society and the hurt caused to persons who are denied service simply because of who they are. So we now have to be afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. Mullins and Craig married in Massachusetts and had originally gone to Masterpiece in July 2012 because they wanted a cake for their wedding reception in Colorado. When Phillips refused, the pair went to the American Civil Liberties Union, which filed a complaint with the Colorado Civil Rights Commission on their behalf. According to the complaint, Phillips told the couple that the store policy was to deny service to customers who wished to order baked goods for same-sex wedding based on his religious beliefs. Phillips told the men, I'll make your birthday cakes, shower cakes, sell you cookies and brownies. I just don't want to make cakes for the wedding. The judge's decision states in its finding of facts that Phillips believes creating same-sex wedding cakes would be displeasing God and acting contrary to the teachings of the Bible. In concluding that Masterpiece Cake Shop acted unlawfully, a CCRC investigation also showed evidence that Phillips was willing to bake a cake for the marriage of a pair of dogs, but not for two women. Being denied service by Masterpiece Cake Shop was offensive and dehumanizing, Mullins was saying, especially in the midst of arranging what should be a joyful family celebration. No one should fear being turned away from a public business because of who they are. We are grateful to have the support of our community and our state, and we hope that today's decision will help ensure that no one else will experience this kind of discrimination again in Colorado. Nicole Martin, an attorney from Masterpiece Cake Shop, told the Associated Press that the judge's decision was reprehensible and antithetical to everything America stands for. He can't violate his conscience, Martin said, in order to collect a paycheck. If Jack can't make wedding cakes, he can't continue to support his family, and in order to make wedding cakes, Jake must violate his belief system. Phillips can appeal the judge's order, which is expected to be certified by the Civil Rights Commission, etc., etc., etc. So you have a Christian man who makes cakes. It's his passion. It's what he does. It's his art form. He makes cakes. A gay couple comes in and says, we would like you to make a cake for our wedding. He says no, he does not believe in same-sex marriage. He believes that marriage is a religious ceremony, and so because of that, His belief system tells him that same-sex marriage is wrong. He doesn't believe in it. And he says, I can't do it. These people go to the government. The government forces him to do it. So why do we need the law? The law is offensive. Why do we need the law? Albuquerque. Attorneys for a couple in New Mexico who were told by the courts that they may not refuse to shoot homosexual weddings in the state have appealed the ruling to the United States Supreme Court. As previously reported, Elaine Huguenin and her husband John run Elaine Photography in Albuquerque. In 2006, when Vanessa Willock, a lesbian, approached Elaine and requested that she photograph her commitment ceremony, Huguenin declined, stating that she only covers traditional weddings. The situation soon ended up before the New Mexico Human Rights Commission, who ruled against Huguenin in 2008, stating that she was guilty of violating the state's sexual orientation discrimination law. Huguenin appealed the decision in December 2009, arguing that forcing her to go against her beliefs regarding homosexuality would be like forcing African Americans to photograph Ku Klux Klan members. Justice Richard C. Bosson. This comment may or may not make your head explode. Who wrote a concurring opinion, had even stronger words regarding the matter. He asserted that while the Huguenins are being forced by the court to compromise the commandments of God, everyone must make concessions in life over matters that violate their conscience. He outlined that the Huguenins may freely live out their faith privately, but when it comes to running a public business, they will have to pay the price and check their Christian convictions at the door. That's amazing to me. Here is a judge who says, you know what? It is okay for you to have a belief in God. It is okay for you to have some kind of religious belief. It is actually cute. You are cute that you, look at you. Look how cute you are. You have a religious belief. Let me pat you on the head. You are so adorable. Look at, they believe in God. Look how cute they are. And you know what? You can live your faith. You can live your faith freely. But you have to live your faith privately. Because when it comes to running a public business, he says, they have to pay the price. And they have to check their Christian convictions at the door. Your Christian convictions are not allowed in the public space. Why do we need this bill? The bill is offensive. The bill hurts people's feelings. Quote, the Huguenins are free to think, to say, to believe as they wish. They may pray to God of their choice. They may pray to the God of their choice and follow those commandments in their personal lives and wherever they lead. The Constitution protects the Huguenins in that respect and much more. But there is a price, one that we will have to pay somewhere in our civic life, he stated. That compromise is part of the glue that holds us together as a nation, the tolerance that lubricates the varied moving parts of us as a people, Bosson asserted. In short, I would say to the Huguenins, with the utmost respect, it is the price of citizenship. If you want to live in this country, if you want to be a citizen, the price you have to pay is you have to say, okay, I can believe what I want to believe behind closed doors. That's fine. You can pray in your closet. You can pray in your kitchen. You can do whatever you want to. The moment you step out that door, you are no longer free to do that. You are not allowed to do that anymore. You have to keep your belief system inside. So when people post things on Facebook regarding this bill saying, I do not remember Jesus ever turning anybody away, ever. He never turned anybody away. That's right, he didn't. But when he went into the temple and he saw people doing things he didn't like, he did not say, I'm sorry, guys, could you please leave? He took the tables and he tossed them and he ran them out of the temple. Because they were doing things he did not like. He did not participate with it. He did not make himself one with those people in the temple. He took the tables. He told them to leave. Why do we need this law? This law, people are saying this law is offensive. Why? You just heard me read it a minute ago. Because it hurts people's feelings. Their feelings got hurt. This incident with Memory's Pizza was a hypothetical situation, and they had to close their doors because people are so hateful. They had to close their doors. But we don't need a law like that. We don't need protection. We have religious freedom. Do we have religious freedom? What is going on in our country? What is going on in our world right now? We are more concerned about whether we will cater pizza to a gay wedding than whether we will protect Christians who are having their heads cut off somewhere on some beaches in some other far-off land. Here's an article. I'm just going to read the first few lines of it. More and more, I'm aware of how subtle activation at various extraneous stimuli alters the background emotion of anger within the populace, and how that angering emotion drives action. If you remove all anger, people will tend to accept nearly anything. They will be total pushovers. But introduce anger at one thing, and you'd best not expose that individual to something else which might anger them. Place them in a society collapsing unnecessarily into a morass of corruption, degeneracy, treason, and evil, and soon even the slightest of stimuli will precipitate action. I think that's what's going on. There is so much evil in this world right now, and people feel it all over the place. And I'm not calling homosexuality evil. I'm not doing that. I'm not calling homosexuality evil. If I were to say that it's a sin, then I would say, you know what, big deal. I'm a sinner. I mess up. So I can't judge them when I'm not perfect. But I'll be honest, I'm confused on the matter. The Bible says one thing, I feel something completely different. I don't know how I feel on the subject. But if I were a videographer, as I am, I have my own video production business, and someone came up to me and asked me to do something against my conscience, if a strip club manager came up to me and said, Troy, we would really like you to produce a video of our strippers dancing on the dance pole on the stage, we really want you to do that, and I turned them down, I would expect to not have to do that because I feel like that it's against everything I believe in. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I'm sorry, sir, but I will not videotape your strippers naked on the stage because that is against what I believe in. And if his feelings are hurt, hopefully I can recommend somebody else possibly. But that is what this is all about. Protecting people's feelings. Who cares about religious convictions or principles? So what is the answer? This is something that I've been trying to think of myself. How do we deal with this? What is this? How would Jesus have handled a situation like this? I think he would have looked at the nation and he would weep for all the anger. He would weep for all the pain that's being caused because people are hurt, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why people are lashing out, because they are hurt. Grown-ups can still have their feelings hurt. And when people are hurt, they lash out. And I think that's one of the main causes of this anger going on right now. but people's lives are being destroyed. And so when people say, why could we have a law like this? It's so discriminating. It's going to give Christians the freedom to tell a gay person, no, I will not serve you in this restaurant. Every time this has been talked about in the media, the people who were talked about, the Christian people, said, we will not refuse service to anybody. We just will not support the ceremony. That's all. Here, I'll make a cake. You can take it. You can take whatever you want. I'll make a cake for you right now, but I will not make a cake for the wedding. Fine. And that's not typical just for Christians. Go on YouTube, look up Muslim bakeries. There's a guy who went to several different Muslim bakeries asking them to make a pro-gay cake. They all refused in the video. He said there were a few that said okay, but most of the ones in this video refused to make it. Do you hear this in the news? No. But there is so much hatred for Christians because so many people believe Christians are hypocrites. Well, Christians, let's be for stuff. Let's stop being against stuff. I don't know what else to say on that. When we start showing that we support people that we love, but we still stand up for our religious convictions and our principles, when we start standing up, then maybe people won't hate us so much. Well, that's all for this episode of The Troy Show. If you would like to leave a voicemail on this subject and give me your thoughts, please do so. Leave it at 707-874-TROY. Again, this is not a voicemail that I will pick up. It will go straight to the voicemail, and you will leave a message, and you will leave me your great wisdom and thoughts, and I will respond to it like this one here.
Hi, Jeff. It's Barbara. I'm over at the house. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday, and this is the day we plan to do our gardening chores, so I'm going to get started, and I'll hope to see you soon, okay? It's 10 o'clock now. Bye-bye.
Oh. Well, looks like this one may have been a wrong number. But wrong numbers still count in my book, because it's still a number. Check me out. Facebook.com/TheTroyShow. Look me up on iTunes. Download the show. Pass it on. And until we meet again, take care.
This is The Troy Show.